Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. Let's take a look at some alts today briefly. It's probably not going to be a long video for many weeks here if we're headed where we might be headed in altcoin land. It's still weird to me that dominance looks bearish, but alts look more bearish than BTC. So that means that ETH is clearly holding up any bullish Bitcoin dominance, and we'll get to that. But the way Bitcoin has continued to trade and act is certainly not bullish, as we tried retesting 90 today and got immediately smacked down. Maybe that was one entity, aka Sailor, buying, and then everybody came in and dumped on that. I don't know, but this formation is not bullish. Price action, intraday, tape reading, however you want to think about it, certainly not bullish. Cloud on the 4 hours, certainly not bullish. Daily is not bullish. There's just no bullishness here. I would love to see this randomly bounce. I would love to see this randomly go to 120, but it's unlikely to do that based on how this looks and has acted. We had a brief window in the 4 hour where we were setting up, and then we sold off, right? So it just is what it is. And it's important to be honest about it. And if we want to think about conservative downside targets, we're talking mid 70s. If you want to get extra with it, you can measure the flagpole here downward, and that measures into the 60s. So until this fever breaks for BTC, it's hard to get bullish anything. To me, still to this day, for those who need to hear it, outside of the COT data, which is extremely bearish for ETH, likely because of the validator situation and rotating in and out of the exit queue. Again, that data doesn't matter. The validator queue doesn't matter, or rather the underlying inputs to the data don't matter. What matters is, what does the COT data usually mean when it looks like that? Is it usually bullish? That's all I need to know. The answer is no, it's never bullish when it looks like that. So end of story. Putting that aside, ETH here could still be setting up for an inverted head and shoulders. It could still be trying to bottom, but this is high hopium at this point. Until you get the shoulder formation, until you're at the neckline, it is nothing. It is a dream to think that this thing's going to bounce until it shows you it's trying to bounce, right? So yeah, this might be there, and this is where people with TA get into trouble. They're like, oh, it's this, that, and the other thing. If it's an if this, then that operation, if we break 3K higher, then I like higher highs. It's great that we tried to consolidate after a parabolic puke. It's great that we're trying to consolidate under the cloud. But at this point, none of this is bullish for ETH either. And this is the best looking chart, in my opinion. Very few charts are coming even anywhere close to that. ETH BTC also has still a case to be made for an inverted head and shoulders, and it may take 3-6 months. Who knows? The entry, again, is not anywhere in the formation of the pattern, typically. Your best bet is always going to be a confirmed time frame close, in this case the weekly, in this case the daily, above 3K, or the weekly above 041. Until then, it's a jump ball. You can say, well, there's a bias, because there is. You can cheat it a little bit. You can nibble, but man, going big here on anything feels rough. Feels rough. And it's not really about being right or wrong. It's just like, what do you think this is? What, again, I hope it's bullish. I hope I'm totally wrong here. I could care less. Either way, I just want to be on the right side. And the right side, to me, on the USD pairs feels down. Here's dominance still as bearish as it has been, in that trend-wise it's bearish, pattern-wise it's potentially bearish. Not confirmed until below 58%. This could easily cancel at this point and go to 62 plus based on how alts are looking. Not a lot of bullishness for alts, so dominance probably continues to chop around a little bit, but this is definitely the key chart to watch into 26, and this is of course inverse dominance. There's a cleaner pair you can look up now. Total 2 ES is everything except BTC and stablecoins. So total 2 ES over BTC gives you the alt BTC pair. And this looks great, right? This looks as bad as dominance looks in the other direction. This looks like it's trying to bottom, but until it does so, there's really nothing to do but wait. And total 2 isn't giving you anything, right? This basically looks like BTC. That's pretty bearish. So on the indices, not really seeing anything aside from ETH maybe setting up. Definitely need to wait and see. But here to the long side, not typically where the money is made. Typically, at least for me and as a trend trader. Sol making a new low on the day, a new multi-month low. Never a good thing. And again, you can say, well, there's a div there. There's whatever else. Okay, but this is how the market is acting. It was setting up for a potential inverted head and shoulders, but thus far it's been down, consolidate, down, consolidate, down, consolidate, ready for another down leg. Next chart, right? There's nothing else to really say. There's nothing else to really say. Ripple, same deal. You go higher time frames. It's black or white. What do you think? What do you got? You know, not bullish. Sorry. Next chart. Sorry. Daily Zcash, I think, is rolling over as well. Yeah, so this is an inverted cup and handle. After double top, the cloud doesn't like it. Next chart. You know, that's just where we're at. Sui, big down move again today after trying to claw some back. Doesn't look great. And that's most charts here. Just haven't recovered after 1010, have continued to bleed. And I just don't think there's anything to do. This is almost a time not price thing for BTC and ETH, and alts just bleed, right? When you're talking about time not price, to me, that's just alts bleeding continuously. ADA, new low. Monero, one of the few that looks tradable to the long side. If I had to pick one chart, if I had to pick one coin to sit in, it's Monero. And the Monero people hate when I say this, but it has classically been inversely correlated to the rest of the market. So the worse the rest of the market looks, the better Monero tends to look. This looks great on low time frames. It looks great on high time frames. It looks great against the indices. It looks great against BTC. Probably the only chart here that looks tradable to the long side. Tau, new lows. LTC, ready for new lows. This also, whatever this is, this, you know, you don't want to see anything that resembles a topping pattern. Sorry, you know, if you're in kindergarten and you're trying to put the square hole or the square peg in the round hole, you're messing it up. And it's just like here. If you're trying to put a bullish lens on this, that's going to be rough. Gold has done well. That's PAX-G. That's another thing you could trade to the long side. ENA lows, AVAX lows, XLM lows. And, you know, I said it was going to be a short one. I just don't see a reason to try on any of this stuff right now. And it makes more sense to me to just let it puke. Let it puke. Near, Syrup, HBAR, CAS, Ton. I just don't see anything. That's why when you look at ETH, you can say, okay, well, maybe we're trying for something if we can pull back up. But it is a dangerous game down here, in my opinion, after just, you know, a week straight of down. So if I had to pick one, again, it'd be Monero, but these others just look sick. They look very sick. SNX, ARB, APT, INJ, just continuous bleed, continuous bleed. One thing you could do over the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months is slowly DCA into this stuff. I'm talking snail's pace slow over months. If you think there's going to be an upswing in 26 at any point or even 27, but it is a tough game out there right now. Trading crypto. Not a lot of meat on that bone based on the price action. Memes look horrific. Shib, Doge, Trump, Bonk, Pepe, Floki. Yeah, all that looks awful. And then if we go to the BTC pairs side, Sol BTC, nothing. ETH we talked about. Monero, you know, kind of speaks for itself. For whatever reason, not like the other charts. One of these is not like the others, you know, and it's called Monero. I'm sure there's probably a couple others out there. I don't know if they're at the same market cap. Tron, interesting as well on the BTC pair. What did that look like on the USD? Let's take a look. Kind of holding up, kind of an inverted head and shoulders, but I think Monero takes the day as far as the altcoin to do anything with here, because the rest of these, yeah, I mean, it just, you know, it speaks for itself. There's just nothing to say or do, in my opinion. Bearishness until proven otherwise. Bearishness until low time frame BTC pulls up, because we've got nothing here. Just continuously smacked down. Look at that. We almost hit 90.5, way down. Now, maybe if I have to guess at something bullish, it would be similar to this on ETH, where you get some sort of pattern here. But we better start pulling up pretty quick, folks, or it's going to get ugly out there. That's all I have for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.